Good evening, dear parents, and also boys and girls. My name is Samuel Owen, and today I'm going to give you a presentation about what video game violence is and how could it affect youth violence. Now, this session will be divided into three. Firstly, we have to know what video games are in general. Secondly, what's the current situation of video game violence to the youth. And third, I will give you a solution on how it should have been handled and how the youth could have been less violent. Now, who doesn't love video games? Have you ever felt bored after doing your work and didn't know what to fill your time with? Now that's where video game came from. Now, we all know all kinds of video games. There are video games who are made for all ages. There are puzzle games, there are sports games, and there are also educational games. But with that, there are also video games who are not meant for children to be played by kids. There are first-person shooter games or shooting games in general. Secondly, there are horror games and thriller games, and there are also no shortage of fighting games as well. Now, in this current era, we all know that dear parents like you that have attended here have had sorts of problems that your kids who have played video games has suddenly become more violent behavior, sometimes even resorting to rebellion. Now, if you wonder why this kind of problem exists, well, mostly it comes from the content of what video games that they are playing. You might think that they may play video games like your Nintendo or your Minecraft, but if you didn't know, they could have been playing shooting games, multiplayer games with their friends, without knowing that playing those games would have resorted to that behavior of being violent. This common violence can even be resorted to those children growing up to be a criminal. Now, with those problems out of the way, with those situations being said, we all been wondering how this kind of problem should have been resolved. Could my kids be violent if I didn't care much? Well, yes. Firstly, I'm going to tell you the solution. The most prioritized solution is, dear parents, you should keep an eye of your children and what kind of games they are playing. When they are young, you should give them games that are educational or that are kids friendly. You could give them a sports game that they can become more fit. You can give them an educational game which they can learn, so they can use it growing up. And speaking of growing up, when they grew up, you should give them games that even if they cause violence,